Yeah, I think it's a lot of things. I guess first of all, it's mum can do it or grandma can do it. I just give it to her. It's easier to pass it along. I'm busy. I don't have time to sew.
Okay.
Or they might learn the basics, didn't grasp it because the teachers, if they had sewing at school, I do have conversations with a lot of people that they didn't like their teacher. Their teacher was a battle axe. That they just a terrible teacher. And that has a lot to do with it. And I can relate. My first textiles teacher was beautiful and she was a wonderful teacher. I got to the next one and I was running the sewing class rather than the teacher. So really, I think having good teachers in that high school space is really important. But not all schools are offering textiles anymore. And I have found that the schools that are offering textiles in year 7, 8, it's hand sewing and not machine sewing, which I get. Hand sewing is really important, as we all know. But for me, it's not very engaging. They're making softies. They're 12, 13-year-olds, 13, 14-year-olds. They don't want a softie. they want to make garments. They want to learn to be able to make stuff. I just think they've taken it backwards. What my first projects were a drawstring bag and pillowcase cover and all that sorts of things, and French knickers and wonderful stuff that we could actually use, where a softie is not something that they're going to use again. So I think from an education point, we need to look at what they're offering and what they're teaching and making sure they're engaging the students. But it's also comes down to our world is moving so fast, everything's swipeable, and everything the kids expect to be able to learn skills really quickly. As sewing takes time. It takes a lot of time, and the kids these days, the generation that we're going through schools, they don't have that skill to practice. They're not taught to practice things. I had to teach conversations with RMIT and Monash University teachers the same week. RMIT said that they're finding their students are getting to them and they can't sew, so they've got to change their curriculum to teach them how to sew. And the Monash University said that they've got to teach students how to document where they're getting their researchers from. And even though they've been taught that in school, they're not being taught to practice things. And it's having time in schools to repeat learnings. That's very much, very part and parcel of what we do in sewing is we go over it again and again. We make a pair of pants 3 or 4 times before we move on. But students don't want to do that. They don't want to do the same thing over and over again. They want to move to the next better thing. But you've got to have the skills to be able to do that.
Yeah.